Joe Biden was elected on a platform of getting the virus under control, chiefly getting the country vaccinated, and part of that was getting kids back in school safely. While that last one has become a patchwork of many complex local public policy decisions, the administration has taken some strong steps to try to make it happen. They called on states to prioritize vaccines for teachers. There's $10 billion going to help districts manage the cost of testing. And there's $130 billion from that COVID relief package aimed directly at getting K through 12 schools to reopen. Today, President Biden announced that $81 billion of those dollars will be released to schools immediately. The president's goal is to open the majority of K through 8 schools within his first 100 days in office. So today's 63 days in. How close is he to achieving that goal? The person most suited to answer that is the new Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, and he joins me now. It's great to have you on the show, Secretary. Thank you very much for making time. Let's start with where things are, because one of the challenges we've had throughout the pandemic is data. Does the Department of Education know how many kids are in school, how many are in part-time school, how many are in remote school? Just as a way of starting to figure out what targets you want to hit.
Yes, thank you for having me. We know that 76% of the students in pre-K through 8 are at least hybrid. 45% are full in-person in school as of now, but we have a ways to go.
So you got 45% full-time in school. Are there goals about what you want to see happen in the next few months in terms of numbers?
You know, Chris, I want to make sure that we have opportunities for all students to re-engage in in-person learning this spring. You know, if we're prioritizing vaccinations, we're following those mitigation strategies. There's $10 billion for surveillance testing. And we know, based on what we've seen, that schools can be safe if the mitigation strategies are followed. We can do it. And I really want us to try for 100%. But I'm pleased with the progress that we're making now. I just think we need to keep our foot on the gas.
There has been an argument that some have made, Republicans and conservatives, though not exclusively them, that teachers' unions have been overly cautious, overly worried about transmission in schools, and have been a chief obstacle to getting back to in-person learning. You're an educator yourself and have been. What do you think about that critique?
Listen, teachers have bent over backwards since March of last year. And in my work in Connecticut as commissioner, I partnered with educators to make sure that we can do it safely. 100% of the districts in Connecticut offer in-person learning because of that partnership. All educators want children in school. They just want it done safely.
What does that mean? I mean, I guess the question is, has sentiment changed, right? Because, look, the virus is scary. Schools, as we know, as any parent who goes through cold and flu season knows, very transmissible. At the same time, a lot of data has suggested that the levels of transmission are not what you would expect. They have not been huge locusts of outbreaks, but yet people are worried. Like, how much sense do you have of how teacher sentiment has shifted and evolved, and how much vaccine access has changed that?
Well, you know, first of all, it always helps to have a teacher in the White House, because educators are being acknowledged for the work that they're doing, and vaccination prioritization for educators is something that the president led with. Providing the funding to make sure that schools have supplies for PPE, for whatever safeguards are needed to safely reenter the school. And, you know, the emphasis on those mitigation strategies, all those things are helping build that level of confidence that we could do it and we could do it safely. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Did you have anything to do? What were your interactions like with CDC over the 3-foot guidance they put out? There was a lot of discussion on that. Obviously, it makes a big deal to change that, because schools don't have a huge surfeit of space, particularly in urban school districts. Anthony Fauci said that was entirely a data-driven decision. But do you liaison with CDC on that? Do you get a heads up? What is that interaction like?
We follow their recommendations. So there was no discussion before. There was no, what do you think about this? We follow the science and we implement safely based on those guidelines. And I'll tell you, you know, from last March till now, one of the things in those districts that are successful, and we just had a summit today and we heard success stories. One of the things that was a through line is the reliance on health and safety data first. This is a health pandemic. So ensuring health and safety as a priority will always drive our reopening efforts.
There's been a lot of coverage of the emerging literature and studies of the effects of this past year, unlike any school year, I think, in recent memory, it's safe to say, and the effects of remote learning, particularly remote-only learning, and particularly along lines of race and class in terms of equity. What is your sense, your characterization, your understanding of what the literature and the data are saying about what the effects of a year of remote schooling have been like?
Well, it doesn't take, we don't have to look at the research. As parents that we are, I know you have little ones, you could tell when you talk to your little ones the impact that it has not to be around their friends, not to be around their teachers in person. And you can only look at a screen for so long, especially if you're an elementary age student. So we know that there are effects. That's why with the rescue plan, there are funds there to provide good opportunities for students for summer experiences, and making sure that when the students do come back to school, we're prepared to meet them with what their challenges were and what their needs are, and make sure that our schools are designed better than they were last March to meet the needs of our students, which, as you said, are significantly impacted by this pandemic.
There's been some controversy around or some debate around standardized testing this year for understandable reasons. Arguments go in both directions, right? One is you want to have a guidepost to measure precisely the effects we're talking about. The other is it seems insane to subject schools to standardizing children to standardized testing, given the least standardized year in American history. 500 researchers and scholars wrote a letter to you basically saying don't force schools to give standardized tests this pandemic year, that it made no sense. It would exacerbate inequality and produce flawed data. There will be standardized testing this year. Why do you think that's a good idea?
This is analogous to the difficult decisions that leaders had to make last July when we talked about reopening schools. And we know that there's no one size fits all. When we were thinking about reopening schools, we had very small schools and we had very large schools, and states that had high numbers and states that had very low numbers of COVID. So there's no one size fits all. So the flexibilities that were announced by the department last month allow for some of that variance. But let me tell you very clearly that when we're pushing out $130 billion, state level data, not necessarily the classroom data, because teachers know where their kids are, but that state level data is going to ensure that we're providing the funds to those students who are impacted the most by the pandemic. We have to be very focused on addressing that were exacerbated by this. And those data do help make sure that we're moving the money and the policies to those students that were affected the most. Students of color, students with disabilities, whose impact by this pandemic were greater than many others.
Your anticipation for the fall, I saw an announcement that Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey just announced, I think, that he will not allow any remote education in the fall. I know there are parents who are still hesitant and worried. We don't know the trajectory of vaccines. It seems to me that getting all kids in class makes sense. Do you have a position? Does the department have a position on that?
It's premature to tell. One thing that I know as a former commissioner of education, COVID-19 numbers will dictate how we move to reopen schools. So it's not just about what's happening in the schools. It's about what's happening in the community. If, as members of our community, we can follow those mitigation strategies to make sure that our schools are safe places for our students and for our staff, we should have students in school next year. We should have them in school in the spring. I really want to move forward this spring to safely reopen schools as much as possible. For K-8 is the goal, but we also know we have high schoolers that are waiting for their drama club to start, for their band, for those graduation ceremonies that are so important. So we really need to make sure we're following the mitigation strategies and doing everything to get our students in school now.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.